Check.
Video, right?
We'll check.
We're up.
No, you're not on here yet, Jake. We're gonna get you on here. Yeah.
You will be though.
No.
Okay, I'll shut up.
They might be able to hear you.
Jake's in the dark.
No, I haven't put you on yet. I haven't put you on yet.
He hasn't added you to the stream yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of had to do a little bit. We're winging it a little bit here, and Jake was.
Hear him.
Yeah. There, you're on the screen now.
Your video just went kind of weird, Jake. What is that?
Am I good?
It's okay. We're about weird
good.
stuff here.
You went kind of faded.
Okay, we're live.
We're good.
We're live.
Hi, everybody.
We're live.
Hello.
My frames aren't dropping too much, I hope. Anyway, let's keep this going. Welcome to the party, everybody. Let me get rid of some stuff. Let me get my screen on the screen. Screen on the screen. And then let me get rid of this stuff.
And Connor's not coming in Skype, right?
Correct. Connor's in our phones today. I'm just minimizing.
Thomas Falcone says hi to everybody. Hey, Thomas.
Yes, let's go.
Your partner in crime.
Jake's homies with him too.
Tommy?
Yeah.
Tommy boy?
I call him Falcon. You call him Tommy?
No, I call him Tom. I call him Tom or Falcone.
Okay, yeah, let's call him Tommy. All right, look at that. How's that? We got everything on the screen now.
You looking good?
Looks good.
We can hear everybody. Jake, I had issues with audio last week, so I'm like.
That's a frustrating situation.
Yeah, I was frustrated with myself.
And it's freezing a little bit right now. It's back again.
And we're back. All right, well, we can point out the issues, but the reality is I can't solve them. So, moving forward. All right, guys, welcome to this week. We got Jake Chams, who, thank God, he's got a short way to say his name because that's all I know. And, of course, joining me, Steve. Hello, Steve.
What's up, everybody? And, Jake, how do you pronounce your name?
It is Chamseddine. Jake Chamseddine. My full name is Yaoub Mohammed Chamseddine.
Wow.
So
that's fire. That is a good name.
Yeah.
That's a really good name.
So there's that, yeah.
Oh, how's the chat doing today? Actually, I'm guilty. I don't have the chat pulled up. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone, but it just messes. I'm too scared about my internet, so I don't do it. But
that's fair. That's fair.
If there's something for go wrong, it will, right? It's that law. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's somebody's law.
That's how it works.
Anyway, how's everybody doing today? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for Jake for bringing all his friends. I know he brought a bunch of friends along today.
Hello, friends.
Yeah, but the schedule for today is we're going to talk to Jake about what he's been up to, how he got started. We'll get a little for a briefing for maybe people who don't know him. And then after that, he's going to tell us what his life's like. Maybe not right now. Well, right now is interesting too, but we're going to learn about that. And then he's going to do some live editing for you. So he's going to edit the photo that you guys all did this week, the Brendan Urie shot. And talk over some of his favorites. And yes.
Hopefully my stream doesn't or my computer doesn't break. But I think we should be good.
If your computer doesn't break,
you look good now.
Cool.
I'm actually looking forward to how you tackle this photo. I'm actually looking.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited to see it as well. Okay, cool. Well, let's get us going. So, Jake, you're a music photographer. Obviously, you photograph music. I know, but didn't you do something else before you did this? Or no? Am I wrong on that?
Before music photography?
Did you have another career? Or no?
No. I was kind of doing I wasn't doing music photography at all. It was more just like party videos at college. Is kind of how it all really started.
That's a career. That sounds like a career.
But I would take my camera around at college, and I started like a media company. If you could, it was called Left Brain Media, and we would just take videos of stupid shit like around. Sorry, is this PG?
I didn't do the mature thing, so
Okay, I'm gonna keep it PG. I'm gonna keep it PG. I can do that. But we would just take videos of parties around campus and live events that the school would put on, and we'd make recap videos and put them online. And that's kind of how I started with the social media side.
Where was this? What school?
Oregon State University.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
good coast. I like the coast.
West Coast.
Let's go.
So how does that transfer to this though? How does that transfer to live music photography?
So I going to school at Oregon State, there would always be like 1 or 2 concerts that would come through every year. And I would always end up sneaking my camera like into these shows just because I was like, I have a camera and I want to shoot photos. So my first show that I ever snuck a camera into was Mac Miller, and I fought my way to the front row and I took photos all night long of like the barrier. And I had security come up to me and be like, you can't take photos, like cut the camera. I had no idea there's a 3-song rule in the pit or anything. You know, I just snuck my camera in and was in front row. Finally, I posted the photos online about like the next day. And the promoter of the show DM'd me on Instagram and was like, yo, you have to delete these. You're not allowed to post them, blah, blah, blah,
No
blah.
way.
And I hit him back. Yeah, he hit me with all that. And I hit him back and I was like, I'll delete the photos only if you hire me for every show that like you put on from here on out.
We never want to
so
talk
from
to
there
you.
on out. Yeah, yeah. But no, from there on out, I would get a media pass to shoot every show that promoter put on. And then from there, it was kind of just like networking and just shooting. And instantly I fell in love with music photography. It's like the hardest thing not to fall in love with as far as photography goes. So
it's addicting. It is so addicting.
Are you guys going through withdrawals? Because I am.
I'm going crazy, man. Just recently, this past week. Up till this past week, I was good. And then I was like, yo, this like last weekend, I was like, what is going on?
52 days without a show, that's fine. 53, get me out of here.
Get me out. I want out.
And last Saturday, I was supposed to be actually in Portland to see Rage Against the Machine and was trying for credentials.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everything tanked. And I'm like, finally, I was going to get to see him live.
Totally. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Oh.
Crazy. Industry's tank. It's cool you started this, though, with that. You know, with the quarantine, you kind of made a good thing out of it. So this is exciting.
I was doing it before, but not like I was just doing it on my own, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But at some point, I was like, it's just like it's so just me, and I was like, I have so many friends that do so much cool stuff, and it's more fun than like going online. Like I'm sure you stream solo. You're like, it's fun, but like after a while, you're like, I'm just me. So this is way better.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Well, and it's kind of cool because you got a chat room full of people and a guest like you, Jake, that immediately, even if you've never met, we all instantly have something in common. We're dying to get back into a photo pit.
Totally.
So,
be at a concert and in a photo pit. Those two things. And be able to travel a little bit, even if it's just like going on a road trip. I feel guilty about that right
Jake's
now. Jake's
actually...
I'm curious. So go ahead.
My comment was going to be bad, so you go.
Okay. So now I'm dying to know what it is. So I'm kind of curious. You start shooting live music by sneaking a camera in and then basically blackmailing him. I'll take the pictures down if you hire me. Which
this guy's
genius,
a criminal,
right? Yeah.
Get me out of here.
But how does that turn to tour?
So that is actually that's a great question. Adam, do you know Spud?
Yeah, I think I know. I know your story before I knew you.
That's so funny, man. I love that. That's great.
Spud, and I know Dr. and I know all the people that happened before you were got your job.
Yeah.
You tell your story.
So my friend Spud, now one of my closest friends, lives in Portland. And I did, as well as the music photography, growing up in Oregon, there was like nature everywhere. So I would always do like the landscape in the Pacific Northwest, like go out and shoot the forests and the mountains and the rivers and the lakes and all that stuff. And while doing that, I was also kind of doing the whole social media, like Instagram grind. And I came across this guy named Spud the sound guy on Instagram. And he was
Spud the sound guy.
he did local photography in Portland, and he did a lot of like nature stuff. And so we started hanging out and we started shooting like all this nature stuff. And I had no idea what his name was. So I randomly asked him one day what he did. And he was like, yeah, I'm a sound guy for bands. I was like, oh, sick. What bands? And he was like, Spud.
Okay.
It's Spud. Yeah. But I didn't understand why like Spud the sound guy. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. And then he...
and his last name is the sound guy.
Yeah, that's actually his last name.
Yeah.
And then he told me he toured with Panic! At the Disco. And I was like, yo, if they ever need a tour photographer, let me know. I would love to come out. And so he would always hit me up randomly and be like, hey, they're looking for someone. Nothing would happen. And I was going to college at the time. So I was down at Oregon State. And then the week I was supposed to walk at my college graduation, Thomas Falcone, who you guys might know. I know Adam knows.
This is my son, Tom. Yeah.
He bailed out of the tour, or he got Big Sean. He got offered Big Sean, and he dipped out, and he was like, I'm going to go do Big Sean. I'm not going to tour with Panic. So they were frantically looking for someone because the tour was in like a week. And then Spud gave them in. They called me the next day and they were like, hey, we need you to fly out tomorrow. So I skipped walking at my college graduation and flew out to Texas. And then they were like, have you ever toured before? And I was like, I've like worked with artists before, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
That's when they asked you the question when you got there.
Yeah, I was like, tight.
You're like, yeah, I'm on tour right now. What do you mean have I toured before? Come on.
And Thomas said you're welcome, by the way, in the chat.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Shouts out, Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
But no, it worked out good, and from there I kind of just like everyone else, just kind of worked and networked and kind of made it happen. So from there it was Panic, and then Lorde was under the same label, so I had the opportunity to tour with her, and then a couple other random artists along the way. It's been quite the ride, quite the 5 years of.
Can I chime
roller coaster? In? Yeah.
I want to say that this is about Spud because I think Spud's amazing, and I think he worked
amazing.
for Pierce the Veil. He worked for somebody I worked with.
Pierce the Veil, yeah.
And I think we met him at Soundwave while he was with Panic. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually with Matty Vogel in the forest in Perth, Australia, hanging out with a band, jumping into a watering hole, and and that's when we met Spud out there taking his nature photos. Yes.
He's a nature guru, bro.
Dude,
when I go on road trips with him, he goes hard. I love it. It's great. It's incredible.
He's always got the socks going up to the knees. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's got the big socks. Sorry, Steve. I know.
No, but you mentioned the first guest that we had on here, actually.
Yeah.
And somebody asked in the chat, how did you two meet?
Jake and I?
I think Adam and me met before online. We met on the internet, and then what show was it? Was it Panic?
Jake bailed on me, dude. Jake stood me up one night. Jake cool guyed me.
Sick.
I got the receipts to prove it. No, I think when you were out with Panic the first time when you played the amphitheater in San Diego, I took my mom to that show, and I wanted to meet you that day, but I don't think I met you. But Spud told me that you were there. I was like, oh, I'd love to meet him. And then at the San Diego Sports Arena show, I think you used my lenses.
Yes, 100%. Used your Sigma, was it the 14? I think it was a fisheye.
Yeah, I was like a Sigma.
Shout out Sigma plug.
Sigma, let's go.
Sigma.
On a Sony
That's one of the
camera,
best ways
Sony
to meet
plug.
people. Borrow lenses is one of the best ways to meet people.
Oh, yeah,
that's good.
I just shot glass, and he used it, and then afterwards he was supposed to come hang out, and I never saw him again.
This is true, and since that day we've just been internet friends and been in a long distance relationship. But we'll get there. We'll get there one day.
I don't know if
so. This is your couples therapy.
He's on my Find My Friends. Do you know that I have your location?
No way.
Yeah, I know what hotel you stay in LA. It's really close to my place.
Oh, I'm about to. I don't want to plug your. Actually, I can now because I'm not working. Yeah, the Kimpton, Everly. Yeah, right down the road.
Yeah, I live like 2 miles from there. I'm like, oh, Jake's in LA doing something at a hotel again.
I've got to know.
Wow.
Jake, this is a good. This is good. Steve's like, all right,
this is awesome.
Yeah, this is a good vibe. Let's
no, but I got to know though, because you didn't walk your graduation.
Yeah.
What was your degree in?
It was new media communications with an emphasis on 3D animation, which I don't remember how to do any of. So, but new media communications
animation of yourself right now.
Yeah, that's what Twitch's 3D animation. No, I really wanted to get into movie animation and stuff like that. So I've had a camera in my hand since I was really young, filming myself skateboarding and my friends doing dumb stuff on a skateboard or a snowboard, and yeah, that just kind of transpired into just always making digital content. And then college, I was like, oh, there's a degree for new media, so just kind of worked out.
Yeah, dude, you're a badass.
Love you.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
It's sick. No, thanks for doing this, and thanks, dude. I like how I don't know, you have a cool story. It's good.
Thanks, man.
It's
crazy.
Up on, go ahead, Jake.
What was crazy is I was telling my stream before we started this, when I was telling him that you were one of the first photographers I remember I looked at and was like, yo, there's actually someone touring with these artists and doing this. This is crazy. And then to now be doing this live stream with you and becoming friends and me bailing on you all the time. It's kind of wild.
Hell yeah. No, it's great, dude. I'm your gateway.
No,
I'm your gateway. Let me be your gateway drug.
It's crazy. It comes full circle and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate you saying that, and it's cool to hear. And I hope that, I don't know, like, I'm sure that you can feel it in your shoes with people that look up to you, and it's a pretty nice feeling to be part of some of these stories. So,
Totally.
I'm happy to be a small part of yours. Steve, what's up? Let's hear the knowledge.
No, I was just going to say, you pulled up his Instagram and you pulled up a photo he did from Banff.
Yeah, he says I miss traveling and taking photos.
And dude, what a beautiful shot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Banff is one of the most pretty places. If you've never been to Banff, it literally is one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Yeah, it's like if you look at majestic in the dictionary, it should be the photo. It's wild.
Wow.
It's so beautiful.
Did you just use a picture?
The best water
on
rafting,
Banff?
by the way.
Banff.
Yeah, that was great. It sounded like a pickup line.
What?
If you look at majestic in the photo, you find in the dictionary.
Yeah, that's my go-to. That's actually how I got my girlfriend now.
Yeah.
Is that pickup
Was
line?
that line?
But with her name in place of Banff.
He's practiced
You
it.
told her she was
practiced it
majestic.
with Banff and then used it on her.
She told her she was majestic. I love that. When I think of majestic, I think of unicorns. Unicorns combined with other animals galloping nicely.
Canadian unicorns.
Oh yeah, Canadian. Oh yeah, Banff's in Canada. Okay, well, cool. I hope we didn't offend you by saying Banff was beautiful. I know you're from Portland and all, and you guys take your nature very confidently and proudly. So.
No, Banff, beautiful.
All right, cool. Well, as long as we didn't offend. All right, let's see. Moving along here, I think let's get into the photo. It's on your page, so we can just pull it up here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what made you, Steve's good at this, but I'm going to just get something in before Steve takes all the good questions.
Okay.
What made you pick this photo to release?
I am a huge fan of the more minimalist style of concert photography, the more isolated image, as opposed to it's interesting because when I started music photography, it was all about me the big explosion, giant picture, the pyro and confetti, and make it as crazy as possible. And over time, it bowed down very much to the more just minimalistic kind of focusing on a specific subject, an event or moment in the show. And I think that this photo portrayed that pretty well as far as something I look for in an image.
When you talk about when you started, it was a certain thing and now it's this thing. Are you talking about what you felt like the meta of what's popular music photography is? Or are you talking about what you felt you should be doing?
I think at first, when I first got into music photography, it was all about what I thought music photography is and what it should be. And like you said, the meta. Mm-hmm. And then the more I did it, the more I realized that I liked a specific style and I was drawn more towards a specific style. And I think that, I think a huge thing for photographers is you develop your style over the course of time. And that's a long period of time, it doesn't happen overnight.
I think it's ongoing.
And
right?
I think, 100%. And
your
I think
voice is always changing. Your visual voice.
Oh, I thought he was saying that literally. I was like, what's going wrong?
No, but that to me is what you're saying is when, at first it was big and fire and now you've gone minimalistic. To me, that's the development and growth of your own internal voice.
Yes, totally. And that's kind of why I picked this image. And it just looks cool. I like it. I like the crown.
He's a good-looking
it's a cool
guy,
moment. Yeah.
No, sweet.
What are the little things on the left and right?
Where? On his hands?
There's little lights to the far left and far right of the frame outside the spot.
So this photo, if you guys, I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to see the Panic stage from the last tour, but there's a riser in the back where where Dan the drummer was on, and it rose and it went down, and it would elevate and go down. During this song specifically, it would go up, and then there's usually an LED monitor in front of it, so you can't see the whole. But for this song, they brought it down because there's pyro, so they were worried about the pyro burning the LED screen. So this photo is actually from underneath the stage.
Sorry, Bill.
From underneath the stage, looking out towards the crowd, and his back is actually to the crowd right here. Oh. So he's looking backwards towards so those lights are actually the high beams from the lights going to the crowd is those the white speckles on the side.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
The line at all. The line at the bottom, one of the things I was going to ask you was, there's a line at his knees. Clearly, this was a high stage.
Yeah.
But it may not be because you were literally under the stage.
I was under the stage with looking up at him. But it is a high stage to begin with. But being under it doesn't help.
Fooled us all.
So let me
Jake.
go back to the
You
question.
fooled
Then.
us all.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with shots like this where you have stage interruption of the bottom half of a singer's body or a artist's body.
Yeah.
Because there's venues like the Greek here in LA. The stage is like barely above your feet. It's hilariously low.
Yeah.
And then you do a show like Roger Waters' The Wall at the Coliseum in LA, and the stage is 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're composing a shot like this and there's no way I'm going to get the lower half of the body completely, what are you thinking in your composition to set?
That's such an interesting question, because I think it becomes subconscious to a certain extent. Like shooting the show so often, you start seeing what works and what doesn't. And I think for me, subconsciously, I was like, most of these shots, to be honest, the stage was very high. It's a 10-foot stage, so it's above my head. You know what I mean? It's probably like a 7-foot stage. It's above my head. So most of my shots that were in the pit or underneath the stage, I was having to cut off some of the image or just hold up my camera and spray and pray. You know what I mean?
Right.
But with this one, I think I was thinking like, if I do cut off his body at any point, where would it look decent to cut it off? And I felt if it was any lower here, like if you had the shin and the shoes were missing, it would look accidental. Whereas with here right along the knee line felt way more on purpose, as opposed to just like a random photo taken. Does that make sense?
I love hearing
makes
the
total
thoughtfulness.
sense. And that's actually
I like hearing
that's
that.
actually key to me, is that it was conscious to you, right? You were aware of it while shooting.
Yeah.
There's an old saying in traditional photography, and that is, don't cut at a joint.
Yeah.
Because it can end up looking amputated. And what's nice here is you actually got the light of the knees, so you're a little bit below the knees, which, like you say, doesn't make it look accidental. It makes it look intentional.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about this is you've got the blue light. That crown could have caught so much blue light it was solid blue. It didn't. The lighting here is actually really neat.
Yeah.
But for some people, it can be really hard to capture the color of the light without the singer being totally pure blue, or without clipping a ton because they're in the spotlight. You expose this to get the light, but keep highlight detail in this raw image that you could get back. So again, going back to the composition, when you're shooting something like this and you see that with your eyes, you see the spotlight. What are you thinking to make sure the camera gets it?
That is such a good question. Wow. I already love this podcast. This is great. these are the
This isn't a
hitters,
podcast, dude. This is visual.
I love this live
Come
stream.
Come on, man.
my bad.
If you'd walked your graduation, you'd probably
I would have got that one correct. I think for me, when I'm exposing an image during a show, I am shooting for skin tones first, and then using the knowledge of, especially on a tour, when you have the knowledge of what the light's going to look like at certain moments, and you gain this perspective, and you're like, oh, I know what this needs to be shot at. I don't think I would have gotten this shot the first try, and I know there's plenty of this exact same shot where one, he wasn't wearing the crown, one, it was blurry, it was overexposed, underexposed. I think after an amount of time of practicing this angle, I was able to finally nail it the way I wanted it to. And I do try to expose a lot of the times for skin tones specifically in these concert images, because they can get so crazy. They can be so blown out and so dark all the time.
Exactly. Was this a burst? Because the other thing I love about this, the symmetry, this is the perfect type of shot for, putting this subject dead center. But the tilt of the head, the extra tilt of the crown, did you burst this and just grab this frame, or?
Yep. So a lot of the times when I'm shooting a show, it's at first, it was always just spray and pray. It was like spray and hope you get at a certain point, you're going to get a good image. And then it turned into find the moments you want to capture, and then spray to get the exact moment that you want out of that frame. So like you said, with the head tilt, like when he starts this first, when his arms go down during the show, he's completely straight. And then like as the beat and the lights fade away, he starts to tilt a little bit more throughout that time. So that's definitely is from a frame grab. If you go back and look at the other raws, they're not, his head is straight at first and then slowly tilts and his arms are straight out, as opposed to kind of in like a crow.
Steve?
Go, dude, go.
Show, but thanks for
interrupt me anytime.
Well, thanks for letting me interrupt, man. What I was gonna say is, for people who maybe have only shot a concert once or something like that, when Jake's kind of talking about practicing it. So musicians, like, I don't know if this is known information or it wasn't known to me at least, but they do similar things each day. I'm not saying it's rehearsed, but because there's so much going on stage, there's fire, there's all these things that they choreograph for the stage. They're in the relative similar spots doing similar things. So what Jake is saying is basically, this guy did this, or Brendan did this every day, and this is when he finally got it. So he was working towards a shot. And that's the advantage of being on tour, is you can kind of be like, didn't get the shot today, but there's tomorrow. And that's sometimes a disadvantage, where it's like, hey, well, why don't you have this shot yet? And it's like, I've been waiting till I got a good one. I've been waiting till I got the good one.
Yeah. I think the other cool thing about this image particular was the crown isn't in any of the other frames except for this one. Like if you go back through, like a person from the crowd had thrown the crown up onto the stage, and then luckily, as you said, was able to practice to get this exact moment where he put the crown on finally, and was actually, like, it just worked out. The timing, the patience, it all came together.
This shot to me is a good example of why you're nominated for iHeartRadio's Tour Photographer of the Year.
Thank you.
This is, I mean that seriously, because this is not one of those shots with, like you said, fire and tons of action, right? There's no car chases in this.
Yeah.
But you took a solemn moment during a show and managed to make it seem, by having this in your head and pre-picturing it and getting it, and make it seem almost otherworldly, with the light coming down on him in this almost floating type position. When do you approach how you're pre-visualizing these differently when you're shooting for a Lord or a Marshmallow versus a Panic at the Disco?
I think...
Or is it the same process in your head? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think at my core, like we talked about, this style of images is what I love. This is what I if I get a photo anywhere close to this, I'm very happy about it. But obviously, working client to client, you have to switch the way you think and the way you capture an image, dependent on what that brand needs. For example, Marshmallow, EDM, they want the loud firework that I loved shooting when I started photography. Transferring from shooting this Panic tour where I was very into these subtle moments like this, and then going to the Marshmallow shows where they're like, no, we want like cool close up. Where's the pyro? Where's the confetti? So I think it's definitely having to switch your mindset depending on who you're working for. But if I had it my way, I would be shooting film, and I'd be shooting with these moments with Lord and Panic, more specifically, as much as I could. These are my
nice shots.
So what's it like to get hired? They're like, hey, we want Jake to come on this tour, and let's pretend it's Marshmallow. I'm going to take these big shots and stuff. And I know at the beginning you were stoked to shoot those things, but then you're talking about how you had to convert shooting what I would consider to be a little more artsy or maybe a little more emotional, not so commercial. What's it like to then have to shoot the thing every day that like you're not passionate about anymore? What's that feel like as an artist, and what does that take?
It's a super difficult conversation, I think, because at the end of the day, if you're not walking away with an image that you are happy with, or you're not happy about the things you're shooting, especially when you've worked so long to get to a certain point, and then you get there and you're like, I'm not enjoying this as much. It's kind of a harsh reality check to be like, do you give up shooting a specific lane of photography without knowing that you might not get an opportunity to shoot this other lane, like the one you want forever? But I also take it as like a challenge. It's kind of like a mental challenge where it's like, all right, right now I have to switch my mindset and try to make something the best out of the situation that I have in front of me. But it is difficult because sometimes you get those dream gigs, right, where you're like, oh, this is perfect. Like this style is going to match exactly. Like for example, I was supposed to go out with Haley Martinez during this before the quarantine happened, and she has like a very artsy, lordy vibe, and I was very excited just to create like weird artsy images with her. And I think it's just you get those gigs that you're super stoked on, and then obviously you're stoked on all your gigs you want to be doing as an artist more than others.
So I guess it's like, and I would argue that a lot of your stuff are like, I would say that every one of your jobs are most people's dream jobs. So you kind of have like you've been able to do such amazing things, and it's cool to know that like even on your level, like you struggle with these same things of, okay, do I do my passion? Do I do my job? When do I do the other one so that I can turn one into the other one? And it's kind of hard to do the conversion, but it sounds like you kind of got it figured out, and at least you're thinking about it. So when it does make sense, you can kind of make the jump.
You kind of got to be cautious about it. I mean, I bet you felt it too. I mean, shooting everything from Diplo, like EDM, to the rock world, it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so dynamic. Like the things that stand out to them and their brand are so different worlds, completely different worlds.
And I personally have run, and I'm not trying to make this about myself, but I'm saying, like, I've definitely personally run into a point where I was like, they were like, hey, we don't need you to shoot this. Like, this is just too artsy. And I'm like, fuck. Shit.
Yeah, no,
that. But
totally.
I was like, damn, I love these images so much. Let me do these.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I could totally understand where you're coming from there. And it's definitely a complicated balance.
Yeah.
But
so here's a question then for both of you, actually. But Jake, obviously, mostly.
Yeah.
And that is, how do you, when you get hired for a new tour, right? So let's say you were already shooting Panic and you get the call from Marshmello, you get the call from Lord, and you mentioned how Marshmello would be so different what they expect. How do you figure out that artist's image that you need to portray?
Yeah, I think obviously you get like a good idea of the brand if you do know the artist or you do your research. So for example, when I got hired on with Lord, I definitely had some previous like knowledge as to what like her look was in the photos that have been put out prior. So it's kind of about doing your research and figuring out what'll match. And then I think it's also building the relationship with not only the artist, but management, and knowing what they're taking kindly and what they're kind of like not using at all. You start to figure out what direction they want their images to look like. And I think that it's really just it takes time for sure. It takes some time and some adjusting.
So what would you submit after a show? How many images would you submit after a show?
So I usually anywhere from probably 30 to 60 images a night. A lot of those are like this, for example, where it's a couple frame grabs at the same moment, just depending on what they want, and they'll pick out that moment. But I try to shoot for at least 30 a night and then shoot them over. And then it's depending on the artist, they'll use 15 of them or they'll use none. Like with Lord, she was hardly using social media. I mean, she deleted her Instagram halfway through the tour. So she was just at this point using them for press and media and other outlets as opposed to her own Instagram account. Whereas Panic will post a whole set on Instagram and a whole separate set on Twitter. So it's all dependent on really like I said, the brand or the management and how they want that all to look.
And then Mello's pretty
Christina's
much...
cool in the...
Sorry, go.
Christina's cool in the chat just said 30 to 60 blew her mind.
I was going to say,
yeah.
And then Mello's probably just like shooting a commercial ad every day almost. Like it literally has to be so on. Like they are so... I mean, he is a brand before he's anything else.
That he's
right.
Yeah, it's like I consider it like the Disney of music. You know, like literally the Mickey Mouse of music. If you can compare brands, like it is so heavily dependent on the brand and the content, across the board. Literally every social media platform, every type of video you could make, from parodies, memes to epic recap videos of tours. It's so dynamic in that camp, and that's why they do so well.
Yeah,
they push
so
out this
room.
like constant, amazing content, and they can grow. So, and do so many diverse things. It's really interesting to be a part of and watch. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that is crazy. I hope that he gets on a Mickey Mouse level sometime where he has a popsicle. I want a popsicle, marshmallow popsicle,
or a park.
A park.
Marshmallow amusement park.
Everything's just bouncy and tastes nice. Everything's comfortable. You could fall over anywhere and you never get hurt. Yeah, that'll be a great place to hang out. All right, we better buy the URL now because they're about to make it. So that's about it. They're fast. They're fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are fast.
Okay, cool. So, right on. Well, I guess let's get into the editing of this if you're down with that, Jake. We do have a little bit.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this, but I'm down.
No, dude,
Very
we're
down.
here to help. Everybody's nervous.
Okay.
All right, I'm jumping over to your visual right now. I might have to change your face again. Is your screen good?
Screen is good. Yep.
And Steve, I did that. Okay, cool. Give me 1 second because we lost your face. I just got to put you back on here. We do want the guest face, believe it or not.
Yes, we do.
There he is.
There it is. Lightroom showed up in the stream for sure.
Okay, cool.
Right. And then, wow.
Now Jake is actually a histogram, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
No,
Count
no,
it.
we're making it.
We're putting him back in.
We're doing it live for the kids.
As it should be.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that we've got somebody on using a mic boom and a Shure SM7B and in-ear monitors and
good, Jay?
It's like wow.
Yeah,
you can tell he does this for a lot.
That was a subtweet at me, by the way. That was Steve's version.
Direct
of
attack.
Yeah, that was a Steve version.
No,
of an insult.
It came out that way, but it wasn't meant that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt it. I'm just kidding.
This is cool. You guys got this set up. This looks good.
It's a subreddit.
Yeah,
nice.
You're set. I mean, you're on screen right now. I guess like if you like, I would just talk us through what goes through your mind. You're done with the show before you even you selected your images. Now we know you edit differently after show than you're gonna do now. You can't take as much time, but just talk us through what you think about before you edit.
So I obviously I'll sit down and I have an app called Photo Mechanic. So I'll import all the footage. And then, or all the photos, and then I will go through an app called Photo Mechanic, which is essentially a quick view of your thumbnails of raw images, so it doesn't take so long to click through and do selects.
And it's invaluable.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you guys shoot mass amounts of photos or event photography, get Photo Mechanic. It will change your entire life. I will go through. I'll select real quick, and then I'll drag those selects into Lightroom directly. And then once I get in Lightroom, I do a second selection of selects, and then I go through and edit that final select of images. That, like I said, ends up being around 30 to 60 images. So I would get in here. Usually I would add my preset, but this is on my gaming computer, and I have literally no presets on here.
We got rid of his tools.
We have no tools on here.
No
That's a disclaimer.
Yeah.
This disclaimer.
I don't know why you're right now you're going from your blacks are getting crushed and then uncrushed, and I don't know why.
On the edit?
No, on your face.
Yeah, you're going faded and then full color and then faded and full color.
Whoa, I see that.
It's a neat effect.
Is it me?
No.
Is it you?
No.
It makes you look majestic.
You know what?
I think we're good now. I think it's because it's back.
You know what? I don't really care because the last time stuff went bad, it was a resize of the video, and Maddie would go from 10% to 100. This is great. If that's the only problem we have today.
This is nothing.
Well, and somebody mentioned, you're not in OBS, you're in Skype, so there's no LUT involved. Never mind.
No, yeah. No LUT here.
What's a LUT?
Look up tip.
Sir.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm going to just jump in here. The first thing I will do with an image is I'll come down to the tone curve. And I generally just keep it on RGB. If I want to get really, really picky, I'll dive a little bit more into that. But I'll start with just a general S curve. So I'll pull down the exposure, the midtones. I'll pull up the highlights just a bit. And then I usually like my blacks just a little faded. Just a little bit of fade, not too much. Is that looking okay on stream? Can you guys see that?
Dude, it looks great.
Yeah.
The photo's good too.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So there's before, there's after, and that's all we have done so far is this tone curve right here. I'll come back up here from there, and I will probably pull the highlights to be a little bit brighter than they already are. As you can tell, it's pretty dark image all around, so I'll pull those highlights out. And you can see the histogram up here kind of spreading out, not looking as crazy on the highlight or the black side of things. And then I'll crush the shadows just a little bit. Maybe bring back a little bit more of the white. Is my dog here? I want to see my dog real quick. Oh, what are you doing? And then I'll. Hey, what? You want to?
Sorry, as long as you have a 6-foot leash, we're good to go. Bring a dog on.
Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
Oh, it's a puppy.
Oh, it's a puppy. Yeah. All right.
I love it.
Then from there, I'll probably crush these blacks a little bit more. And then as you can see, there's a before, there's after. And that is looking a little too contrasty for me. So I might come back down to the tone curve and smooth out that curve so it's not as contrasty. It's looking a bit better. Then from here, I'll come down and I'll usually change. I like my blues to be more of what color is this? A teal? Is that correct?
It looks like an Aquaman color to me.
An aqua. Okay, yeah. I usually like those to be that color. Here's the before, here's the after. Saturation, depending on the color, obviously. So what I use, if you guys don't know what this is over here, this is the HSL tab. So huge saturation, luminance, actual changing the color of each specific color. Saturation is making the color more saturated or less depending on each specific color, and the luminance is kind of brightening or darkening each color. So that's just
luminance.
a quick.
Let's go.
Quick outline of that. And a quick way to change those is all you have to do is hit this dot right here. Click that dot, and you can come over and pick what color you want to change. And then you just click and drag, and then you can either saturate, or desaturate. I will probably desaturate this just a little. The blue, I like a little desaturated in my images. And I'll come down here, and I usually add a little bit of blue to my highlights in the split toning. So I'll bump that a bit, and that just adds a little bit more blue in the highlights of the image. And then shadows I'm going to keep. Usually I would add orange, but in this image, I think I kept it. I got rid of the orange in my shadows because I wanted it to stay blue, obviously. So this image was shot at 8,000 ISO, which is a lot, and you are going to get a bit of grain. So I actually added quite a bit of noise reduction. I think around like 20 is what I ended up adding, or 15 probably looks better. As you can see, no noise reduction, and then noise reduction. So that's just going to make that digital noise that you get out of digital cameras kind of go away a bit. I'm going to bump my sharpening up just a little bit.
Vogel's in the chat cheering for your split toning too. I know you're on one right now, but I just want to let you know that he's.
Let's go.
Maddie's all. Yeah, me and him are both like, yeah, let's split tone away.
Yeah, no, I love the split toning. This is the most underrated part of editing. Split toning is like,
throw some reds in those shadows. Let's
underrated. Go. Yeah, so obviously depending on what you want to do with the image, like this affects it so much. But this specific edit, I think I wanted to keep it blue. But if this was a more neutral edit and you started messing around with these, it's going to change how your image looks completely. So tests have not ever played around with that. Mm-hmm. I like a little bit of a vignette added to my photo. So I'm going to drop that down to like -15. And then depending on what ISO I shot the image at, I'll add some grain sometimes. But with this image, how it's already kind of at 8,000 ISO, I think I'm going to keep the grain kind of where it's at. It's looking like my highlights are a little bit more blown than I like them to, so I'm going to bring those back down just a bit. And then I think I'm going to get rid of some of that noise reduction again, because it does look a little too... Up here, you guys can see how it gets like creamy when you add it, and it just looks fake. This helps, but you don't need too much of it.
We need some edges. Yeah. We want to see where his face becomes the background. Yeah. We don't want it to be boring.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Noisy skin is better than plastic skin.
Bring that back.
Jake, are you still nervous? How you doing there, man?
I'm pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, just take a deep breath. You're doing great. You're crushing it. Yeah.
You're nailing it.
Your face is great. Your explanations are good. I'm sorry I'm talking. I'll let you get back. You're doing awesome.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go up here and I'm going to crop this so it's perfectly even. As you guys can see, there's this thirds ruler on the screen that pops up. I want these arms to kind of be perfectly even right here, and that's not locked. So you want to lock that and then do either as shot or 2x3. And I'm going to pull this down so those are even as so.
Oh, you're a 2x3, huh? You're a 2x3.
There's before, there's after. Yep.
I don't know what the judgment is.
Then one thing I will also do is I will, depending on the photo, I don't even know if I did this in the original image, but why is that zooming?
Do you always stay with a 2x3 type crop or a 4:6 crop, or do you go whatever the image calls for?
It depends. I try to... For my original exports that I send off to like management or whatever, I'll try to keep them 2x3, or if I go vertically, I do a 4x5, because a lot of the time these images are used for Instagram. So the crop I did that I posted is this 4x5 that I used and cut that out like that image, and I would obviously make that even, and then so there's the before, there's the after. Very minimal edits. I'm not a huge fan of over editing an image, but so I don't think I even did this in the mirror and add kind of like these gradial filters where I'm going to blast these highlights so you can see those, but darken the exposure a ton. So it's kind of focusing in, kind of like a vignette would do.
Yep. But on a vertical line, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can see that blue kind of comes out a bit more there as well.
Do you ever obviously when you do that, it's going to remove some of those lights in the background. Do
Yeah.
you ever clone or you don't worry about taking, that area pure black?
Yeah,
and removing those?
I think for me, because I'm just trying to think of this as if I was right after a show, sitting down and editing and going through this and my thought process. If I have the time to go through and really dial in how I want it to be and mess around with it, and I have the time to like move things around and see what for example, the clone stamp would do or what I could do there, I definitely would. I'm just kind of doing it as quickly as possible pre-show. Right. My thought process, what goes through. But yeah, to be honest, I think this is kind of like a
That's good. It's a good before and after. Let me throw the whole image on screen. I don't know why I did that. Well, let me put this back. Let me get this centered a little bit more. There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
So there's before, and then there's after. So as you see, not a ton, but like I said before, I'm really a fan of like the simpler, not as in your face edits. But I saw some edits that people did that blew my mind.
We're gonna get into those. Hey, are you good on editing? I got a spiel before we move on. Thank you for doing that.
And real quick, Adam, before you do, just for people who don't know in Lightroom that want to do a before and after, use the /key.
Yeah,
when you're in the develop module.
Yeah, to get that little nice effect. Thank you for doing that. It's really nice. I know it's nerve-wracking, but you did a good job. Even like I understand, like we all use a preset just to jump and then we work from there. Like nobody knows how to start from ground zero. It's like it's hard.
It's hard. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is I'm just gonna.
We're still
here. Don't mean to interrupt. Real quickly. I dropped my clarity.
Go.
You can't interrupt.
I dropped my clarity down to -10, almost on all my images. Give it a nice like glowy, kind of like a glowy effect. Too much clarity, bad, but just a little bit, good. All right, that's it. I'm done.
Wait, dude, you can't do anything wrong. We're here for you, man. You don't have to apologize. You're good. This is your world.
Okay.
I was gonna say is thank you. Like if you guys like this kind of stuff, like this is a shameless plug, but please throw a follow. We'll do this every weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully Jake will keep coming back and like Maddie is right now. He's in the chat.
Yeah, this is fun.
I told Miranda to come
What's
too.
Good, Maddie?
Yeah. Maddie's hanging out. But yeah, everybody give Jake a round of applause. He did great. I know he's a pro, but not everybody's a pro at live editing. So we'll try. It's definitely hard. Okay, so we've seen all these submissions. Jake picked a few of his favorites. Jake, your screen is still on, just so you know. I know you changed the thing. I'm just reminding. I can jump back to mine actually here.
Yeah, don't pull up your emails right now, or do.
Yeah. I jump back. So Jake, if you want to take a moment to get out the ones that, do you have the link saved for them, or what's the best way to do this?
I might be able to get those. Can you give me a second?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk. So I'll give you a few minutes here to pull them up. There's no rush at all. But what I was gonna say, guys, is after we're done with this, we know we've got a lot of good people in here. Everybody, you can share your Instagram, become friends. We'll do it at the end. So just hold that till the end. And if you have any questions, we've got, where's he at? We got Mr. Lasagna on here, Connor. He's grabbing your questions. So if you asked any, we didn't get to them, that's okay. We're going to have a Q&A after, and we'll try to get as many as we can. So don't worry about us now.
And we're going to go through some other, not only the ones that Jake picks out, but Adam picks some and I pick some of your guys' edits to pull up as well.
Yeah, although mine will probably get taken by the time I get to them, but that's okay because I just picked like 3. But I'll do a good scroll through the feed. You guys did a great job this week, so thanks for posting them. And if you wanna partake next week, I know we won't have the amazing Jake, but we're gonna have another good photographer with a different kind of photo. So keep practicing with us because it's all about just getting better. So I hope you're enjoying it. And
so I'm going to airdrop these to I'm gonna email these to my computer.
Yeah, dude. There's no rush. People aren't leaving.
Okay, cool. You guys, like Adam said, be sure to follow this page for more editing contests. So hit that heart in the top of the Twitch corner and show him some love.
Yeah, thank you.
And to everybody that came from Jake's stream, thank you for coming over too.
Yes. We're going to get, I'm not quite sure who we have for next week. I'm going to hold my tongue until we confirm it, but it's going to be fun. And hopefully if we start getting more, we can start doing this more than once a week, Steve. I don't know. How you feeling about that?
Right now I'm at home. I got nothing else to do. This is a blast.
Right,
I'm
cool.
digging
well,
this.
If we get more people.
And by the way, I had somebody offline mention to me, I watch it and I really like it, but I'm kind of afraid to do an edit and put it up. Let me just tell you, if you're worried about doing an edit, don't be. Grab it, do it, submit it. We're all here to learn. And some of the stuff that people are putting up is so wildly creative. Just do it. Just download the image next week and participate. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so far we've had Vogel on here. That's who's in chat. So if you're rooting for Vogel, just know we already have it. If you look at our past weeks on the site, you can check it out. You can still download raw. Still try it out. And the week after that, we had Miranda, and her image was great as well. So we're just going to keep gathering these people's images, and you can always catch up. It's never too late to start. Or you can just join on with us. And yeah, we're going to, what was I going to say? But yeah, it's a good way to learn.
Okay, I got my...
Yeah, dude, it's no rush.
Almost
I can
there.
keep talking because I just had a cup of matcha, so...
Oh, so you're all jacked up on matcha right now.
Like a good one. It's not like coffee where they just like straight to the blood. It's just like it's slowly
Yeah,
kind
and you start
of...
shaking.
I just kind of flow with this. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a vibe. Matcha or coffee is just like...
I'm going to start having a whiskey when we do this.
Dude, why are you not bringing a drink?
Proper.
Let's hang.
Because you know what I have. I've got my Diet Coke.
Yeah, Diet Coke's like... That's so 2019. Get a whiskey.
I know.
I think you're...
1990 called and watched their drink back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I have all mine up, so I am ready to go.
Jump to your screen?
Okay.
Jumping. All right.
Do it.
Right now... Oh, okay, you got the screenshot pulled up. That's perfect. I love how the bottom is just Brendan's face. I'm going to make it a little bigger here. Make it a little bigger for you here. This is fine. Okay, we got it. All right, talk us through this. We got Mag's Reverie.
Okay, so this is number one, in no specific order, but I love the idea of this this style of animation. In college, my final project in college was to do animation like this, where and this is a full video. I only could grab the screen, but they have kind of like the same animation moving, the X's over the eye, and it's just kind of like a cool eerie vibe. And I think it's interesting to take an image and then add some other style and effects to it that are so minimal like this.
Why don't you throw a link to this in the chat so people can check out the animation? You can keep going, Jake. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean that's about it. I also like the color that they chose to go with that. Like it's much darker. It looks like. Yeah, that's kind of that one stood out to me. Let's see. Let's go to another one. I had this one on Twitter that blew my mind. I don't know how. Is this one full on the Twitter?
I can resize. You're good. You can start talking.
Okay.
I'll resize.
The color correction on this is absolutely mind blowing. Like it tripped me out because I know it's possible, but it takes time. Yeah, it takes time. So
they painted that in or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it like, and when I saw somebody asked like, how did you meet? He said that he would take it back and forth from Photoshop and Lightroom, constantly changing the white balance over and over and over and over. So that's something I never thought about doing, is essentially back and forth and exporting it out, importing, exporting out, importing, to continue to change the white balance until he got what he wanted. And there's still like the blue tent in the background, which is like, what? I don't know.
Wait,
it's crazy.
who is that? What's the name of their Twitter?
Who is this?
We got to.
It is.
Give him a shout out.
Because that ain't easy.
Connor will.
That's a lot.
Black Metal and Whiskey. Image Odin.
Imaging Odin. Yeah, throw that in the chat, Connor. You got it.
Odin.
All right, we got it in there. He's ahead of us. All right, cool.
Wow.
That one blew my mind. That was special.
Round of applause.
I enjoyed. Yeah, round of applause. I enjoyed this one as well from LJC Shutter. I love that they tagged Planet Earth and they added this like star rotation kind of radio looking thing.
Star Trail.
It just kind of is like a special little flip on it that's not too overwhelming. You know, I feel like a lot of times some of these can get like, it's cool when they get out of hand, but like we talked about before, I think I'm leaning towards more the style, the minimal style of things. So this is a cool literal spin on the image. So I like that one a lot.
Literal spin. I like that is my type of joke. You got the humor.
Pun intended. And then this is the next one from Cody Code 9. Again, the color correction is pretty intense. That's pretty crazy. So this is just like to see you guys take that blue of an image, no matter what the image is, when it's that saturated with blues and blacks, and to get any sort of color out of that is impressive. So round of applause to
Dude, their edits
to you guys.
That person's edits are consistently awesome because I know their Instagram name and
I
I've
love
never
that.
met them. You know when somebody's like so good, you're like,
I
oh
love
yeah,
that.
I know you.
Yes.
You do this all the time.
Yeah,
really
totally.
well.
Yeah.
Well, and
Sick.
actually, those were really good examples of what this is for. Some people are going, I mean, off the charts crazy with the edits, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
But it's also, you don't have to do that, right? If you just want to practice your regular concert photography processing, like that color correction on that first shot blows my mind.
Yeah, I know. It's
So
that was
this is
nuts.
your chance to take a blue shot and try and get realistic skin tones if that's what you want.
Yeah.
So it doesn't you don't have to go over the cliff on it. Just use your own eyes, use your own voice. Yeah.
Agreed.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Agreed.
Thanks for giving us such a good image to work with too. Like I like that the image is so minimal, and you know we had a minimal image of Sean last week from Miranda's image, and it was so different because it was they were just so different in so many ways, and I don't have the words to explain it. And people did different things, and I think mostly because of the people that follow you too. Like they love Panic and they're artsy, and it really shows through on these edits. So thanks for bringing your crew in on this one because they crushed it.
Yeah, it's cool to see them all. It's been crazy.
So Steve,
they literally pulled it, did white balance in Lightroom, went to Photoshop, saved it back to Lightroom, and did the white balance again.
Yeah, multiple times they said.
I will try that tonight.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Because that's a skill I want.
Yeah.
Well,
nutty.
So Steve and I have some that we like as well, but we're gonna save that for later. We'll go over them at the end. We'll do like another 10 or something. But Jake, we're gonna pull some questions from the audience. If you ever if you ever need some more time to think about an answer or something, let us know and I'll chime in and kind of talk. Or Steve Steve does magic tricks, so if you want to just pretend to not do something, just so we can get Steve to do a magic trick, that would be like, oh wow, I need about a magic trick's worth of time for this one. Like I'm all about that. Get out of here, Steve.
Nice.
The red oh man.
That's cool.
Steve, you can't do the same.
I'm impressed.
I'm
impressed. Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
Sorry, we dropped so many frames. Sorry, we're dropping frames right now. I don't know why my screen's so bad. But yeah, why don't we do some Q&A? Oh my god. So people are asking questions, and if you just want, we can read them, and if you see any you want to answer, let us know. But Connor's also going to throw them in our text, so he can filter them through.
Okay, text will be perfect.
Do you have the chat? Yeah. Do you have the chat up, or you want me to read them to you? Or Steve?
I have the chat up, but I think it might be frozen.
Oh no, Steve, you want to read a question to him? I'm gonna mess with
this one is from Sneasley.
Okay.
And it says, what I'd really like to know is in regard to visas while touring. Do artists and management typically help with this for international travel, or is it completely up to the photographer? I had a great opportunity fall through at the border because it was a short tour, and my first time, management just said you're solo traveling and not worry about visas, but it was a large label band, couldn't talk his way out of, all the camera gear, and it was all sent back home. So that's actually a really good question. I had a friend who tours with Eric Church that had a problem with this, so I'm kind of curious what you say.
Every artist that I've ever worked with has dealt with the visas and that. If I had to do that side of thing, I would not be touring. It would be a mess. But no, every artist that I've luckily have they've dealt with all that, or they've told me what I need to do in order to make it happen. They've just essentially been like, hey, we need X, Y, and Z from you, and then we can get it done for you, which has been great. But that's traveling is such an interesting part of touring because that's a whole other aspect of this gig that people don't realize is like
hard.
Hard. And you're physically moving to these places. Like you're not just teleporting. Like you have to physically get there. And just that in itself is a feat. So it's pretty wild.
I think that the thing about Jake's career that is sometimes different than other people's is Jake started at a pretty high level, like arguably the highest you can get. And depending, like even up to bands that are larger, like if they're not, excuse me, my voice just did something. I don't know how it did it. If they don't have a team behind them, like sometimes they just won't handle that stuff. Like sometimes they'll just be like, hey, show up and figure it out, even if they're a bigger band. So it's really just depends on your employer. So you kind of have to use your own agency and your own mindfulness of that and figure it out. So Yeah, I'm sorry that this person who asked the question had to go through that. It sounds like a terrible situation, but
yeah, it's miserable.
Steve, you wanna ask another question here?
Yeah, this one is from Bio Crispy, or Bio Crispy with a CH as in the name.
BOI is boy.
Or boy, I'm sorry, Bio. Boy. Jesus. So somebody slapped me. How do you tackle a show you're unfamiliar with when you have a 3-song limit? What do you focus on?
That's a challenging one. My honest answer is a lot of the times I'll get there and I will see what kind of everyone else is doing in the pit, and I'll go in the opposite direction. The pit sometimes has like such a wave of people being like, oh, everyone's piling up in this area, and I'll literally walk the other direction and wait for a moment to kind of present itself in front of me within those 3 songs. I think when I started in music photography, I was like running and trying to get every single frame I possibly could, and then I realized like after a while, like this running isn't helping me get a real image that I love. It's more just kind of waiting for it to present itself in front of me and being ready for it. So that's advice I'd give. And then I'd also...
I vibe that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then I'd also say if you really want to like make sure you know exactly what you're going to shoot those first 3 songs, you can look it up on YouTube now. Like if it's not the first show of the tour, you can literally Google the set on YouTube, see what the first 3 songs are, and see what they do in those first 3 songs, and just be ready for that. Yeah, study for it.
And you know what? That one, people, if you're not studying before you shoot a band you've never shot before, start doing it now. It can just help you with understanding how they hold their microphone, how they cover their mouth, the best angle to shoot from. That leads into actually Christina's cool question, which is, do you game plan every night? The shots that you want to get where and when? Like, do you write them down?
On tour, I do. On tour, the first couple of shows, I'll kind of like just feel it out, shoot around, see what I can get. And then obviously with rehearsals, being a part of that on a tour. And if you guys don't know what rehearsals is, tours are practiced obviously before the tour actually starts. And if photographers are able to attend those rehearsals, it helps a lot in knowing what's going to happen. But once you get into the rhythm of the tour and the show, I definitely plan out where I want to be at least for like at least 5 moments in the night. I'll be like, these are the 5 photos I want to get tonight. Everything else I'll fly on the wall, like see what I come out with. But these 5 moments I'm going to capture from these specific places. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, when you're touring and you're on like a big level like that, the shows stay pretty consistent as far as movements and XYZ points and where people are going to be at.
Adam, you want to take one?
Yeah, I got this. Sorry, I was focusing on my connection. I hope it's not dropping too much.
That's right. I can take this one if you want.
No, I got it. I got you.
Okay.
So how do you deal with family or people telling you your concert photography isn't a real career that you can't make a living off of? This person says it's their dream, but they are told it's not realistic enough. And this is Alexis at the disco, excuse me.
Or Alex is at the disco.
Oh my goodness, help me out. This is Alexis on fire.
I didn't say boy, so yeah. It's like...
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's a hard question. From personal experience, my dad is an extremely successful electrical engineer. So any art to him was a joke. There was from one, he was like, people don't do that. He's Lebanese. He is first generation in America. So he was like, you go to school, you get a good job, XYZ. For me, it was kind of the stubbornness. At a certain point, it was like, I want to prove to you that I can do this. And that's kind of like part of the grind in my head. And I think that was always there. But I didn't know it until I got to a point where my dad came up to me one day. I was like, all right, I get it. It makes sense now. Like, I see what you're doing. I see what's happening. And at that moment, it was like, I got the check of approval and it was like, game on. Like, I'm running with this as long as I can. But it's hard. Sometimes people around you are never gonna look. I still have people who, when I introduce myself and they ask me what I do, they're kind of like, what? It's a hard thing to kind of explain to people that have no idea about the lifestyle. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback off what you said there, and that's a great answer. I agree. My dad's from Israel. I know the same vibe as you.
Yep.
Like the same thing. And the reality is, and I know you're hearing the stories from the success stories, but there's a lot of people who try to do this and aren't able to do this. That is a very realistic thing to happen and be unrealistic for us to say that. So the reason your family is saying that isn't because they don't believe in you. It's just if you look around, there's not a lot of people who do this job, so they know that it's a very difficult job to get. So
Yeah.
they're doing for what they feel is caring, and I don't mistake it as them not believing in you. They do. It's just a hard job to wrap your mind around. And if you do
Yeah.
want to do it, it is not an easy thing to get a job with. It involves a lot of years
Yeah.
of working. So I'm sure Jake can suggest this as well, just how he said he does with nature. Do other types of photography. They all make you a
Totally.
better music photographer. And do those while you're working on this. And if you make the music thing work, great. If not, you still have other types that you can still shoot with. And I'm sorry, I hope I didn't steal
Facts.
that too much. Just want to vibe off.
No, that is amazing. I loved all of
I
that.
just want to vibe off you.
Well, and actually, Adam, you made a really good point, and that is everything can make you better. You can look at wedding photos. You can look at portraits. Everything is still composition, capturing light, creating art. So when you're shooting a tight shot of an art, Adam had an entire series he called On-Stage Portraits.
Yeah.
Study portrait lighting, study the paintings. All of that can help you be a better music photographer.
Yeah.
Photographer
100%.
in general. Yeah.
100%.
Izzy Home wanted to know music or not music when editing, and what music, the band you're editing, like what do you listen to?
Oh, good question. Good question.
During tour, I don't think I have music in, because a lot of the time this is kind of like a very specific touring thing. But like after a show, there's like people that come and say hi. There's people that are backstage that photos are needed of like last minute. So usually I'll have no music in, and I'll just be waiting to hear like my name get yelled down the hallway to be like, oh shit, somebody needs like a photo taken right now. Yeah, I should be doing something. But when I'm at home, it's a lot of Bring Me the Horizon recently.
Oh yeah.
And that's about, yeah. If I had to choose like editing music, let me pull up my iTunes real quick, because it's a lot of like Little Uzi Vert, Bring Me the Horizon, and then like alternative playlists. That's about. I listen to everything, but when I'm editing, I try to.
Hello, check.
Yeah, you're there.
Is Jake here?
I think Jake froze.
He's frozen. It's okay. We'll get him back.
He's frozen.
Steve, magic trick, go.
Hello?
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Sorry,
Whoa, your video looks really cool now. Whatever happened?
I gotta get rid of that.
Steve, can we have one magic trick?
I do want to see.
I don't have anything next to me.
You have cards. All right, next week. Come back next week for Steve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, more questions. Let's do a few more questions here.
Yeah. PQ Multimedia has an interesting question. They say they love your TikTok account, and they're wondering, do you feel that has helped you in regards to getting your name out there, just good for business, and also saw that you did video? How do you handle photo and video? They actually make the comment, you're good at a barrel roll with your Steadicam.
Thank you. First to answer your question with TikTok, I think it is beneficial to have kind of a presence, especially nowadays, on all forms of social media. I don't know how TikTok is going to do in the long run. I don't think anyone does, but I thought, what's the harm in trying to get into that world now rather than later, if something does come of TikTok. That's my 2 cents on TikTok. I'm not a giant advocate, nor am I like, no, it's stupid. I'm kind of right in the middle. As for taking video, I started with video prior to photography. So I did video long before I got into taking photos. And I think that I've just slowly, as photography has grown, my video has also had to grow at the same time. And a lot of these bands and artists and brands want you to be able to do both now, which is a challenge. And trying to explain how difficult that is is just as difficult as doing it, because people don't get it. But you do have to learn how to kind of do both now to a certain extent.
What do you edit your videos in?
I do all the timeline and assembly and color correction, honestly, in Premiere, and then any like special effects in After Effects. Yeah, pretty basic, nothing too fancy.
Okay,
cool. Billy1703 wants to know, did you ever get to a point where you thought that it was not going to work out?
Luckily, as Adam said, I got very, very lucky with my situation in the music world as far as getting Panic as my first gig. And that kind of catapulted me into being able to do what I do now with touring. The only time that I was like, wow, I might not be able to do this for a living, was after my first Panic tour. I had a long break between the first Panic tour I did and the Lord tour. It was like 6 months of no gigs, no contacts, no nothing. And I was like, okay, cool. I got to go on tour, and it'll be awesome if I get to continue to tour with Panic. But to do this as a living, you have to diversify your portfolio and kind of obviously work with a multitude of talent. So the day I was able to get involved with Lord, it was kind of like, all right, this is starting to work out. And then things started barrel rolling from there. But there was like a 6-month period where I got a job in Portland where I was doing the social media marketing for a weed agency, a marijuana agency. I don't even smoke weed personally, but
it's a big deal out there,
it was
right?
like a very,
grow a lot of it out there.
It's crazy out here. It's a huge industry, massive industry now. But I did that for about 6 months, and then I was like, I got the Lord offer, and then I've been doing that since. But there was a time where I was like, huh?
Weed and music. This guy's got it all.
Right here, baby.
So
That's
here's
funny,
a good
though.
one.
I didn't know you did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sammy asks, what's one thing that you wish you knew before you started this career?
That's such a hard question to answer. There's so many things. I think I would have had a little bit more of the business knowledge prior to touring. The pricing and the negotiation skills, and obviously it's a cool experience to learn that stuff. Like when you learn how to do that stuff, you feel like you're growing as a business.
How did you learn it?
Getting screwed over and like
okay, there we go.
It's
There's nowhere online with that real deep information. It's just
well, it's
trial
so
and error.
unique, right? And like it's the music industry, man. People are heartless. Like they
heartless.
They will rock you. So
totally.
Definitely good training. And you go to sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're right though. It's definitely like that was the biggest thing for me. Like the photography, like anyone who gets photography and has that style, they're gonna grow and they're gonna learn, and that's gonna come naturally. But with our artist brains, this whole business side is something that like a lot of people, it's really hard to grasp.
It's very emotionless.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense in the world that I'm working. I'm a photographer. This should be easy. Like this shouldn't be such a challenge. But once you figure it out, it's pretty rewarding. It's extremely rewarding.
Yeah, and I agree with him on that. And that's why some people have managers or people have friends who help them out. And it's definitely a rough learning curve. So
doesn't the relationships you've built over time also in a sense help you with that, make negotiations easier?
Totally.
Theoretically,
they know your work, they trust you. Yeah. Relationships always come into it.
Yeah, that's why it's that's great. All right, let me see here. Another question here. Connor, you can throw a few more in if you want. Which one have we done already? Let's see. Sorry, I missed one. I'm
wild.
I'm missing out on some here. Let's see.
It's the magic trick.
How do you get through those times when you're creatively drained, especially on tour? Like, what do you do to like get yourself through that? And that question comes from IDALIS. Idalis. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry.
That's a hard one.
Do you have any way to recharge yourself? Like, what do you maybe like take breaks, or maybe you like set some alone time, or like do you get up early, or is there some way where you like take care of Jake because you have to do so much of your work all day?
Yeah,
right.
I think
question.
On tour is different than at home. Obviously at home it's a lot more easy to. At home I have this philosophy where like you're supposed to be just as uninspired as you are inspired in life, right? Like there should be that balance where like when you're forcing inspiration, nothing good is going to come out of it. But on tour you kind of have to stay inspired. And I think for me, it's really challenging myself every night. For example, with this image, be like, you're going to get that image finally tonight. Like you're going to force yourself to go out there and get that image, or like we talked about planning and learning, kind of forcing yourself to just not think of it as like, oh, it's the same thing happening again, but instead being like, how am I going to make this look new tonight? And that's a challenge that I go into every show with, is I want to make tonight look cooler than last night. And then other than that, I think it's just like on days off, trying to get out and go and leave the camera at the hotel if you can, and just go and get a coffee and
be normal,
and live a normal day. Yeah. For
go
a little
grocery
bit.
Shopping. Sure. Why not? Let's just,
sure. Why not? My hotel room's got a kitchen in it. I'm making food at home.
We're having Pringles today, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever get stuck comparing your work to other creatives around you? And if yes, how do you stop from making your own? How do you stop yourself from making yourself insecure? And this comes from Gabrielle MXRY. Go for it.
Recently yes, the answer to that is yes, 100%. And I think everybody does. And to be honest, you can kind of get drowned in it. And I think, right prior to quarantine, I was getting drowned in it, where I was like, I'm not on tour right now. All these tours are getting canceled. All I'm doing all day is looking at other people's work. And I think a lot of that comes from social media, plays a huge role in that. And one thing I've been doing more of is just stepping away from my phone, putting my phone away, walking away from it, and trying not to interact with it. And that's helped way more than I thought it would. The other thing I did recently was get a dog. So I've been dealing with a dog, which is great. But it's definitely a challenge you have to face head on. Because today there's so much media in your face 24/7 from every single angle that if you don't step away from it, you're going to get drowned in it and you're not going to be able to make anything. You're just going to feel like the pressure of it.
Can I chime after you? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I have a little, not soapbox, but the important thing with comparing is it's okay to compare yourself to your others. That's a good way to gather information. It's really important what you do with that information, though. If you take it and make yourself insecure, that's one thing. But if you take it and say, hey, like we're doing with Jake, you saw these images he's took, you can compare yourself and say, I want to take those images. You can compare yourself and say, I'm not there. I want to get there. Use it as inspiration. And that's kind of the goal here. And
if I can piggyback on that, the other thing is understand what you're comparing, right? You're seeing your 300 shots that you got 30 of that you liked.
Yeah.
And with everybody else, you're only seeing their highlights, right? I always tell people only post, I know people who will dump 50 shots from a show on social media. And if there's 3 bad ones in there, you're as good a photographer as the worst image you just posted. Totally. So only post images that show you the way you want to be seen, because that's what you're comparing yourself with others. So just understand the relationship there.
That's great. Steve, you have a question? I see you submitted your own question. Let's hear it.
That wasn't me, actually. That was Connor.
Ah, damn it. I misread. Connor's got a question.
And
that's my friend.
Connor said, he said, here's a question for myself. Do you believe you need to live in or around LA, or can you come from any city if you're talented enough and are a good human? Being a good human's huge.
I preach that, man. Being a decent human being is very important. But I come from Portland, Oregon, born and raised, bought my first house in Portland. I live and breathe, eat in Portland. So, I mean, I feel like an example of, you can at this point, I think with social media and the internet and being able to do things remotely, you can make it work for sure. I mean, Adam, you lived in San Diego, yeah?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it kind of worked out.
I will say this. I didn't get much new work in San Diego. I didn't get much work from existing there, but because of how I was working, I was able to tour songs. So I'm actually from Wisconsin, so I did start in Wisconsin and then moved to San Diego when I had gigs. But I do think if you're looking to make relationships and network, my job has just changed living in LA. Now I'm somebody who can go somewhere on a day notice. It didn't have that before.
True.
Okay, I gotta put this question in here because Miranda's in the chat.
Oh yeah.
And piggybacking off the conversation that we had last week, do you wear shower shoes in venue?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's an incredible question.
You should have heard our conversation last week. We'll have to clip that.
My answer to this is I don't carry around shower shoes, but I get yelled at on almost every tour because I take 2 extra towels and I put them down on the ground and step on the towels like a maniac. But no, I do not carry shower shoes. I probably the next tour I'll start, because the older I get, the more I'm like, all right, that is vile. Like, it is vile.
I've never worn shower shoes in my whole life. I think people at gym are weird,
Wow.
but maybe I'm just being disrespectful and I didn't know. All right, I got to work on my socially acceptable actions.
So fun.
I thought it was a me.
Especially after
here's a
Corona.
good-
After Corona, people are gonna be like,
Yeah.
"Yo,
Well,
what?"
I'm okay with it.
You'll be able to buy toilet paper, but not shower
I'm okay
shoes.
with it if
Yeah.
it's only gross for me. But if other people get grossed out because I'm not wearing shower shoes, is that a thing? Are they gross because I'm touching the floor, or is that not? This is a real question.
Oh, I don't know
Me
anymore,
neither.
bro. I don't
Teach me
know.
social standards because I was raised on the road like you. This shit's confusing.
Here's a good question for both you guys. Curvy HW Games. What if you're a great photographer? If you're calling yourself a great photographer, I'd question that anyway. But what if you're a great photographer, but not a great editor? Do you still have a chance, or do they really go hand in hand now?
I think they 100% go hand in hand, for sure. Especially, I don't know. I think they go hand in hand because if you have to create your style through your editing and the way you edit. Obviously, you can create a style through creating your images and the way you capture them. But if you don't have an editing style, they're not going to stand out as much. So
It's like a megaphone.
I agree, and I would actually say it's the opposite. You could be an okay photographer and make great art.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I vibe with that. Yeah, it's definitely. I'm learning about these shower shoes. I guess I've been in the wrong. I'm just gonna start wearing my shoes in the shower. My shower shoes are just wet day shoes. They're the same pair. They dry overnight. I'll put them by the vents on the bus at night.
The #1 Google search this week will be shower shoes.
Okay, cool. Why don't we do one more? Why don't we do one more here, Jake, and then we'll let you get going, and we'll start doing some stuff. How's that sound?
Good deal. Yeah, shoot it my way.
All right, Connor.
Go ahead, Adam.
What are we doing? What do we have left here? How do you stay healthy on tour and not fall into that rut? That's from Maddie Heckin' Smokes. I don't know what the rut is, but I'm assuming it's something about cheeseburgers and pizza.
Yeah.
And cookies.
Oh, dude, the cookies, man. Europe cookies.
I know.
All right, go.
I think consistency. I think for me, it's waking up a little bit earlier because a lot of the times you have your whole morning kind of free, especially as a photographer. We don't do much until the artist starts getting ready for the day. Once we finished editing, 5 p.m. Yeah, around then is like when your day really starts working. But then you're up till like 2. I mean, it depends. So I try to get up just a little bit earlier, go outside, at least go for a walk, if not go on like a run, and then go get my shower in. If there's a hotel gym, I'll go to the gym. Sometimes venues have gyms, and you can get access by asking or an
ice skating rink
production team and ice skating rink. Yeah, totally. I've been there. But yeah, it's a battle. It's a personal struggle. You have to force yourself to go and do it because it's so easy on tour to just do your job and just go with the motions of tour. But it feels like we were talking about inspiration. It feels so nice to step away from it and do your own thing for a second too.
Oh, that's great. So basically,
somebody did ask why you randomly have an Allen on your desk that you were just twirling.
This is kind of like a filler, but my monitors are floating, and to raise them and lower them on the monitor stand, I have to use an Allen wrench.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah,
we appreciate
mine's
you.
over here.
Alan to the rescue.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jake. Thank you for joining us. This was sick.
Thank you guys for having me. This was dope. This was really, really fun. I enjoyed this a lot.
Maybe we can have you back sometime, or next week when we have a party, please come hang out.
I will come hang out. I'll throw a rage your way. I'll get everyone to come yell at you guys for a little bit.
Dude, well,
that'd be fun.
We don't have to subject them to the stream against their own will, but I hope they would enjoy it and come. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Steve, say your goodbye.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, those that came through the raid, those that came, through whatever link, make sure you subscribe to Adam's channel, hit the bell, hit the heart, hit all of that.
Yeah.
More importantly, the Raw Challenge channel. All right. Well, cool. That is what this is. That's the same channel. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Jake, for joining us. Steve and I are going to go over a few more. Yeah. Steve and I are going to go over some edits, and you guys can share your Instagrams and stuff while we do that. We're just going to let Jake go so he can get on with his night. Have a good one, man. Take care.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this. This was amazing.
Real fast.
So fun. Yeah.
You're doing YouTube now more, right?
I'm trying to do YouTube more.
Check
now,
out Jake's
yes.
YouTube. That's what he's working on these days. We got to support each other through our new endeavors.
Please
so make sure you check it out.
Amazing.
He's posting some cool photos from his tours he's done, releasing some good work. So that's youtube.com/Jake Chams.
Jake Chamseddine, or just look up Jake Chamseddine on YouTube. I think I have like a weird link right now. I haven't figured all that.
And I've just been saying your last name wrong and not even acknowledging it, so I apologize. That's just
Jake,
like
Connor just posted all of your Instagram, Twitter, everything in the chat. Go follow him. Give him some love, man.
All right,
thanks,
man.
guys.
Thank you again for letting him use your image, dude.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. This is so fun. This is cool.
All right.
Glad you guys are doing it.
All right. Enjoy the
Love you.
Love you too. Peace.
Bye.
All right, Steve, stay.
And you know what's really nice?
Now we can freeze him.
He didn't end up upside down, and we haven't dropped the stream. This is the perfect day.
Yeah, all that happened was his blacks got crushed, but we're just gonna put him back here frozen, like he's still here.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
I can make it.
Just throw him up there.
Let's make his face bigger. There we go. All right, this kind of works. All right, now let's turn on my screen. All right, Steve, you want to go first, or what's up? You want to pull up some?
Up to you. What do you want?
Why don't you start it off?
I can go first if you want.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Wait, you got to screen share it, right?
Yeah, I got it right here.
All right, if you screen share it, it should pop up.
Yep, I did. Is it not there?
Ta-da.
Okay.
Wait.
So this one is from Tom Grutt.
Yeah, and if
we're showing other
people's work, and if you guys leave, throw your Instagram in the chat too. Wow, this is insane.
Yeah,
and I encourage you to stay.
So, yeah, I encourage you to stay because we're gonna have some fun right now. But yes, now's a good time. Start sharing with each other on what your Instagrams are, so people can follow you. I chose this one. I chose 5 of them. I actually edited the shot myself twice, but I chose 5 of them, and I chose them just for the way people think. Right? When you see this edit from Tom Grutt, it's at Tom Grutt, G-R-U-T on Twitter. When you see this edit, it makes you realize it looks like he jumped in the water and he's just floating down asleep. And it's actually a really well done edit. Except I would say, Tom, look at your color. The water's nice. You brought the bubbles in front of him. That's nice. I'd spatter a couple of bubbles also across the rest of his chest, maybe a couple through the hair, but because they would kind of be everywhere, just make less of them there. The color, though, he's still blue. I would look up you can find it on YouTube, and Flern does lessons on it and stuff like that. When you're doing compositing, how to make the image that you're compositing in match the color. Because if he matched the blue of the water better, this is a really interesting idea. I love the fact that you're just thinking way out of the box here. Really, really nice.
His edits are crazy.
Here's another one.
Wait, real fast, Steve. Real fast. Can I pull something up? I just want to show.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
See if this is on Adam's screen. Oh, that's not what I wanted to show.
You need me to stop my share or not?
No, you're good. I just didn't know why it's pulling that up. All right, I was going to show his Instagram, but you're good. Keep going.
Okay. So this next one I brought up for a completely different reason. I love that people are just going like nuts.
This guy's on a bike.
Again, you don't have to go nuts. Yeah. Like when I edited it, I looked at it as if this was my raw and I was going to practice editing to submit to management, what might I do, right? But this is creative as hell, man. The fact because it kind of makes sense when you look at it.
Bike.
Again, same thing, match the color. Start looking up how to take something and match the color, because even without it being perfect, like you're cut out of the motorcycle, it's roughed edge.
Steve, it's supposed to look
even though your mask isn't good, match the color, and this would actually be really interesting.
Like a headlight color. They could add like a headlight shine to it.
Oh, yes. I like that. Have a little beam to match the haze. But again, this is Alexei Makov, and it's _madphoto_ on Twitter. Really creative, man.
Wait, this
one is more the realistic.
I know Alexei. That's my homie. He's from Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's from Russia.
Okay.
He's cool. He's awesome. Anyway, continue.
Just creative as hell, man. And this one is Dylan. And the reason I like this one is I could see this. Yeah. I could see them taking this and using it as a tour poster or an album ad or something. The fact that you added the white space at the top, as it were, to add text. This is more the clean edit. I like the way that you took the blue out and left it more as a halo around him. That's just your clean, basic edit. Really, I kind of dig what you did there.
That looks great.
And then AS Max, Andy Warhol. And when I first saw it, I thought they've got like 4 shots. But when I first saw this one, I thought, I don't know why.
That is awesome.
But
I'll put that on my wall.
See that. I was just going to say, I could see that hanging on a wall. That's pretty freaking awesome.
This is how the Raw Challenge gets canceled. Somebody starts selling it as art. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do
there
it.
are copyright things. You don't want to. You trust me. You don't want to be on the other end of a copyright.
It's only fun until somebody makes a Warhol out of your photo. All right.
And I'm going to end with this one.
Oh, that's cool.
For other people's edits. And again, it's just because I found it interesting. More than one person saw the kind of floating kind of theme, and the way they brought the light beams in. And this is Yasing Cow.
Oh yeah, Yasing.
Really, really cool.
She's cool.
Do you want to show your other people's, or do you want me to show my edits?
Let's see your edit. I'm gonna figure
All right.
out
So
my
this
screen.
was my first one, and it was actually kind of interesting to watch Jake edit, because he kind of did what I did, where he brought it more into a cone of light. He darkened the edges. I did take out the other lights behind it. I also brought out the color and the sharpness in the crown to make it separate, the crown separate from the blues, brought the highlights down, and just kind of tried to stay true to it, but really here's what I did. Here's what I looked at in this. I approached it two ways. The lighting director had a plan. How can I accentuate maybe what the lighting director had in mind? And that was a blue light shining down on him. So that was edit number one. And here was my edit number two, which was, what if I just went nuts? What if I took this and made it look like film? We were talking about film earlier. And so I thought, what about, there's a filter you can use from Nick. It's their, I can't remember which it is, but it lets you pull in light leaks like an old film camera would have. And so I thought I would just go with some light leaks and bring it in there. This was quick. I did this like 20 minutes before we went live.
Analog Effects Pro.
But just have some fun with it. So that was mine. What do you got?
Is it called Analog Effects Pro?
Analog Effects Pro,
I'm a big Nick Software fan.
And what's funny was this one, I learned something about Analog Effects Pro, because this created a line across his forehead. And my wife went, I don't like the line. And I realized you can move the light leaks. I didn't know you could do that. So if you have Analog Effects Pro, you can move the light leaks.
Nick Software is the one who created the point editing software, and then Google bought it and took Snapseed and then dumped Nick. And I was like, no.
And they killed it. And now that DxO has Nick and they're maintaining it, it's still my favorite software.
All right, let's see if I can get my screen up. I don't know why it's showing this, but let me see here. Properties. Oh, that's why. There we go. Cool. All right, sweet. So I was just going to scroll through here and look at them in case you didn't get to. Basically, every week what we do is we kind of have a tweet. So this is Jake's tweet this week because he wanted to put it on his page, and I thought that was great. And that's how you submit your photo. You just do it here, or you can tag it on Instagram. I didn't pull the Instagram up here, but basically I would encourage you guys after this is done, even if you didn't submit something, it's really nice. A comment, a compliment, or a critique can go a really long way. So if you have anything nice to say, please go out there and share with these people. Everybody put some time into this, and honestly, it changes your day. Like if you've received a comment, you know how it feels. You can be that to somebody else. So go out here, check out these photos, leave a comment, tell them what you like. Oh, this is one Jake picked, and just give everybody some love. That's kind of the goal here. Honestly, with this image, I edited it myself, and I didn't post my edit yet, / I never finished it. This image is hard, for me at least, because it doesn't fit what I would usually edit. So it's challenging taking an image that I wouldn't usually pick and figure it out, because I'm so picky about other things that, like that's why people have different eyes and different styles. So I still have to work on mine for this, but I love seeing how you guys handled the harsh light and all these things that concerts throw at you. You did a really good job. And some of these are, this is funny.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is cool. This is just like a straight up usable poster. That's great. So I was impressed with the variety and everything.
There's the one I pulled up.
Is this the one you pulled up?
You just passed it. Yeah, the Andy Warhol.
Oh,
one.
yeah. That one's good. But yeah, I just want to say overall, I didn't pick out any specific. I just want to give everybody a scroll, give them some love. Thanks for submitting. You guys did some great jobs here, and yeah, it was really fun to look at. So
you brought up a good point though, and that is part of the challenge is you wouldn't normally maybe shoot this, or you don't see the same way Jake does, and so you have two approaches. You look at the shot and you try and edit it for what the shot is. It's minimalistic. How do I emphasize minimalistic while also bringing the artist up? Or you add wings.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go either way.
Great. Well, if you joined us for the first time this week, I hope you join us next week. We're going to have some good images. We're going to keep a variety of photographers on. We're going to keep bringing people on. They'll be just like Jake is right now, except not frozen and not covered by this thing. Whoops. Oh, well. And,
Jake got bigger again, too.
Yeah, it's all good. He's living. He's living in his frozen state. But thank you guys for coming.
He's looking at his dog with the Allen right.
Steve, you ready to wrap this? I think we're good. I appreciate it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming. Please throw your Instagrams in there. Check each other out. Form a community here. That's the goal. We just want people to come together, learn together, have a good time. And if you could shoot us a follow, that'd be great. It really helps with becoming an affiliate so we can have emotes and all that fun stuff. So we'll have to stream a little bit longer. Maybe I'll do a day-long stream sometime to get over the requirement. But share your Instagram. Thanks so much for being a good community. Steve, go.
That's it. I just want to thank everybody for participating. And really, this works because you guys are willing to take an image and play with it and have fun with it, whether it be serious, whether it be over the top. And you guys just come and you make the chat room great. I mean, the attitudes that I see in this chat room are like things you don't see everywhere.
Yeah, we got good vibes.
And it's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, good vibes.
I'm digging it.
Keep up the good work, guys. Let's do this next week. Bring a drink, get some popcorn. Let's have a good time. All right, take care. Have a good rest of your. Have a
Sounds
good week.
good.